Welcome, beautiful buddies and gentlemen family. In today's video, I will go through my thoughts on the next top 10 transfers happening so far this summer transfer window. I already made a video, part 1, where I went through the best 10 signings that have been made this summer. And now we're going to take a look at the signings that have been made since then. First signing to look at is Jonathan David, going from Lille to Juventus on a free, and he was obviously linked with plenty of clubs for the past 3 seasons, mainly FC Barcelona, but he's joining Juventus as a free transfer, and I mean, this is a good signing. Jonathan David has been consistently good, not great, not insane. I've watched him. He's good. He's a good player to get, especially for a team like Juventus who don't have that much money. We remember prime Juventus. We remember that, I don't know, Juventus between 2012 until 2017. It was a lot of smart free pickups. Carreras for free, Pedro for free, Pogba for free, and some other more players. So he fits into that. Maybe Juventus going back to that. Obviously, they are heavily broke, not just them, the entirety of Serie A. And this is a very good transfer, I believe, for Juventus. Jonathan David can bag in between 15 to 20 Serie A goals and will do a better job than Vlahovic. And the great thing with Jonathan David, it's not just goal scoring. He can play make, he can make runs, he has high footballing IQ. I wouldn't say he's the best finisher, but he can bag a lot of assists as well. When you have wingers like Conceição and Yildiz on the sides, I think Jonathan David, for them to score and for them to look good, is better than Vlahovic. Vlahovic, I would say, is a better target man for them to aim to. But in that sense, because it's for free, a very good transfer. If I have to give it a rating, I'm going to give it a 9. I think it's a very good deal. Jonathan David in his peak prime, good deal. Next up is Theo Hernandez, going from AC Milan to Al-Hilal for only 25 million euros. Theo Hernandez, ability-wise, is like top 3 with Nuno and Alphonso Davies, in my opinion. And he's going for that cheap of a price to Al-Hilal. I think he only had 1 year left on his contract. He was somewhat pushing for a move to Atletico Madrid, but for some reason, Atletico Madrid did not want to pay the 25 million. So he went instead to Al-Hilal. He's obviously going to get a huge cheeky money pay rise. I think he's earning like 25 million a year in his new Al-Hilal contract. And yeah, I think this is a very good signing for Al-Hilal. Theo Hernandez could have gone to other clubs, but we have to be honest, Al-Hilal and the other top Saudi clubs, they're just getting better with time. The Saudi league is improving. So maybe when it comes to the quality of Theo Hernandez, this is a bit of a too early of a move. Like Saudi, I think in 3 to 5 years, this move would look differently at if a player of qualities of Theo Hernandez goes to Al-Hilal. But yeah, I mean, he just keeps showing the insane pull that league has. Obviously, basically 95% is because of money. We gotta look back at history. Back in 1950s, 60s, 70s, when Baena and all the Brazilians were cooking in the Brazilian league, the clubs in Europe paid insane sums to try to get these people to Europe. For example, Pelé, they paid enormous sums to try to get Pelé to play in Europe. But I mean, Brazil, they said that Pelé is a national treasure and never wanted to sell him. So money, I mean, this is completely normal. The only issue is it's not Europeans do it. When Europeans did it, it was calm. When Arabs do it, it's corruption and they got to bring up the human rights they go against, even though the European countries have gone against many more human rights. What I'm here to say is it don't matter. We're talking about football here. They say, oh, the state is involved. Do you think the English state is not involved in the Premier League, or the Spanish state is not involved in La Liga or something? This is very funny, just very funny. Going back to the transfer, Theo Hernandez, good move for him. Could have been better. Al-Hilal, great move. And only 25 million. At least an 8.5 out of 10 deal. Next up is Joao Bellingham to Borussia Dortmund. Following in the footsteps of his brother. I haven't watched a single Joao Bellingham game. Not even when he was playing in the Club World Cup. Obviously missed that Madrid game where I think a lot of people would have seen him. I don't know how good he is, but he was probably the best, if not the best youngster in the championship last season. It's a good deal for Dortmund. I mean, Dortmund, they don't sign any bum young talents. Even though Dortmund, when it comes, they haven't really picked up the best gems in the past 2-3 years like they used to do back in the day. Joe Bellingham, obviously, it's 30 million. 50 million is due to ability, 50 million is due to PR. Joe Bellingham, I mean, he doesn't have to kick a ball and he will get so much hype just because he is related to Jude Bellingham. But he's probably a good player as well. Good deal. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Next up is Alex Baena going from Villarreal to Atletico Madrid. I'm not someone that watches Villarreal, but every time I talk with someone that watches La Liga, that has seen Alex Baena face their team, they always say he's like the best La Liga player outside of the top 4 clubs, basically rivaling Nico Williams, basically in that league. I know Atletico Bilbao, top 4 team. But yeah, 42 million as well. That's a good deal. When you look in today's transfer markets, I just saw Embuemo for 80 million. Wait, let's take a second. Embuemo for 80 million. Getting Alex Baena for 42 million. I think he's also like in his peak years. Perfect left midfielder. A lot of wingers are left wingers. This guy is a left midfielder. I think he will suit the Simeone system well. Good deal, especially when you look at that price tag. Give it an 8 out of 10. Moving on to Carreras to Real Madrid. 50 million for the Benfica left back. I think he's a former Real Madrid graduate academy or United. And I saw him in one game. I watched that Benfica game. The 5-4 in the group stage. Obviously could not watch. I did watch the second knockout game, but I mean Benfica were very poor in that game, and I think he was actually suspended for that second game. Did not watch the first game. I don't know, man. 50 million. Like, even the people that seen Carreras, even the Madrid fans that want to delude themselves to be overhyped, like, it's a bit too much. I think Carreras is like a backup left-back quality. When you look at the stature of Madrid, the expectations of Madrid, a bit like Fran Garcia. I don't know how big the upgrade is. It feels like both of them will be competing for that left-back spot. And obviously, one of Fran Garcia and Fernandez will be leaving this summer. So that's a bit interesting. Obviously, Carreras will then play as a left wing-back in the Xabi Alonso system. I don't know how good he is in that position. But I think he's good enough, both offensively and defensively to play that position. I just feel like the price is a bit overpriced. The price is a bit too much. Cheeky 7 out of 10. 6.5 out of 10, man. That 50M is a bit too much. Next up, we only have Premier League signings left, going from bottom to top. We have Elanga for 62 million to Newcastle United. And actually, all of these are Premier League signings, which comes to another debate, another conclusion. The Premier League is, it's been a Super League for a couple of years, but the disparity between Premier League and the other leagues is just growing year by year. Thankfully for us, Paris Saint-Germain supporters, we don't have this issue. We had the 3rd highest revenue in world football last season. We're probably going to be at least 2nd for next year with all the trophies that we collected going into the Club World Cup final and everything. But I'm looking at clubs like Barca and Madrid. I'm looking at a club like Baena. I'm looking at all the Serie A clubs. How are these clubs going to be able to compete? They need to push for another Super League once again, man, to compete against this. Because the Premier League is continuing to run away. I don't think the Premier League, like people say, the Premier League will dominate the Champions League. I don't think they will dominate the Champions League trophy. That would never happen because there are so many other great clubs. And it's about mentality as well. Like the Premier League, it doesn't have that much culture in my opinion. It lacks a lot of the mentality needed to win big trophies like that. But I think like we could see round of 16, like 5-6 Premier League teams. We could see that kind of stuff. That's the domination I'm potentially talking about. But back to Elanga. 62 million for Elanga. I'm a Swede. I've watched him sometimes with Sweden. I haven't watched him with Forest. Maybe I saw him once or twice with United. Again, a player of his quality and ability would go for like 40 million. Like, we got to be completely honest with us. I think he only scored like 7-8 goals with Nottingham Forest last season. 62 million. I guess he suits Newcastle. He's probably a very hard working player off the ball. Like an Anthony Gordon. What's happened with Anthony Gordon? What happens with him now? Because maybe Elanga plays raw wing. Well, you got Elanga, Gordon, and Isak up in attack. Newcastle, they're in the UCL, right? If I'm not bugging. Great reinforcement for them. Again, the Premier League clubs have so much money, they don't really care about overspending. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Next up is Joao Pedro. This is someone, unfortunately, recently, my last game that I watched, I saw him with my own eyes. Ballerino. You know, before I saw some clips on comps, some of his goals at Brighton, and I was like, this dude is a baller. Sometimes you're a bit scared. We saw that bum, Even Ferguson, look like a baller as well. And now he's a bum. Joao Pedro. I mean, I saw a video, they asked him, like, who do you think like plays like you, that's better than you or something? And he said Lewandowski, and I was a bit surprised. I thought he was a bit Ballerino, but as a striker, his link-up play, his finishing, all of that, extremely beautiful. Good footballing IQ, good finishing. 63 million, you know, Chelsea has spent a lot of money on attackers, on players. This one actually doesn't look like overpriced or something. Like they paid 100 plus for Madrid, 100 plus for Enzo Fernandez, 63 million for Joao Pedro. It's not that bad. Young, proven. And I mean, they just signed Delap. I mean, Joao Pedro is going to make Delap into a bench player. So yeah, I'm going to give this deal like an 8.5. I think this is a really good deal for Chelsea FC and Joao Pedro. Next up is Mohammed Kudus, going from West Ham to Spurs for 63 million. I think he's had a little bit of a down season this season, just as West Ham have had a very down season. But whenever I've seen him, extremely talented player. He's someone that I could have potentially taken at PSG maybe 2 seasons ago. So obviously versatile, can play on the wing, play in the midfield as like a number 10 as well. I don't know that much how Spurs are going to go into next season, having a new manager in Frank something. But I think this is, once again, a very good deal. I think Kudus is like, look at this. Kudus 63 million, Joao Pedro 63 million, and then you got Elanga 62 million. It doesn't make any sense. The Premier League, man. The weirdest thing with the Premier League is how they rate, like Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon, like these, I don't know what to call them, these workhorse wingers, man. It's Baena, 42 million. But yeah, Kudus, good deal. Spurs obviously needing reinforcements. They're going to be in the Champions League next season. Let's see what they're going to push for in the Premier League. Good player, and I think this is a good step up for Kudus in his career as well. Obviously, still a stepping stone. I think he can go to even higher heights, looking at his talent and ability. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. And next up is Gittens going to Chelsea for 64 million. You see, Joao Pedro 63, good deal. Gittens 64, not the best. I've seen him at Dortmund. He's way too raw. He's way too raw. When you look at his game, he looks more like a youngster that just broke through, that is far away from that quality. But we've obviously seen this from Chelsea. They don't care if you've played 1 game or 100 games. They will sign you. They will sign you. He's obviously plays off the left, a position Chelsea have a problem with. Even though Pedro Neto performed good at the Club World Cup, this is either great competition for him or Gittens will be the starter in that position. I'll give this a 7.5 out of 10. And lastly but not least, Zoo, where are you? 70 million to Arsenal FC. Good deal. I don't know, it's so hard to hype up Arsenal transfers. I don't know why, but I think Zubimendi is a good deal. 70 million, going from Real Sociedad. Good step up in his career, playing now regular Champions League football, Premier League as well. We got to take a look at that Arsenal midfield. Zubimendi playing as the holding, Declan Rice is the box-to-box, and then Odegaard, or maybe if they sign Eze can play on the wing, can play up in the center as well. Definitely better. Like, I remember the fucking party hype. I remember the party hype. It was fucking disgusting. Beating Arsenal first game 1-0, and then it's like, oh, Partey's got to be back for next game. What does Partey do? Gives us both goals. Shout out to you, Partey. No, unshout out to fucking disgusting Partey, man. You're not Partey. You're fucking disgusting, man. But yeah, back to Zubimendi, man. Good signing, needed signing for Arsenal. Everybody knew they needed the 6. Interesting how well Zubimendi performs for Arsenal in his first season. But I think he's ready. He's played with Spain in important big games. Obviously coming on for Rodri, who got injured in the Euros final. Played, yeah, I don't think he's played UCL with Sociedad. He's played the Europa League. Thing is, when I've watched him, I'm like, It's 70 million, maybe a little bit, but again, that's the money you gotta pay, I guess. I'm gonna give Zubimendi to Arsenal an 8 out of 10, and that finishes it off for me. I think maybe some people are wondering where I was reading this off. This is where I was reading off just the paper, put the names on. Yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. That's been it from boy PSGINT, and as usual, allez Paris.